Okay, in order to give an example of an application object-oriented and to explain some concept of object-oriented, I'm going to go with I call it a classic example, which is in O'Reilly. I think it's a great example. So we go with that example. So in our example, we'll have a class zoo, and we'll have animals in that zoo. Okay, so we start with the project. We call the project AnimalZoo. Then, as we can see, we have a default package here. So I don't give it a name because I have something to show you after. So I'm going to go with this default package. I'm going to create classes in this default package, even though this is not the best practice. So I create the first class, which will be my animal class. I just clean it here. So I have a class, which is the class animal. This is a template. This is a blueprint. This is a specification in order to create object animal. Okay, so the best word for it, maybe it's a template. Okay, so I'm going to decide to have different attributes for this animal. My animal has an age, which is an integer. My animal has a gender, which is a string. My animal has a weight, which will be an integer. Okay. Then my animal will have some behavior. Okay. So my animal sleeps. And I simply put something very easy to understand inside, which will be a system out print. The animal is sleeping. Then again, my animal will have another behavior, which is eating. Eat. So again, I do a system out println. The animal is eating. Also, my animal will speak. Okay, and by speaking, I just want to go through its attributes. Okay, so my animal will speak. The animal age is, then I concatenate to the age. What is the age actually is the attributes here. Okay, so I just copy this 3 times because I have 3 attributes. My animal has a gender, and the gender, which is a string, will be here, and my animal has a weight. Which is a integer. So here we are. I have a class animal. Okay. You could see here that I do not have a constructor. So what is a constructor? What is a constructor? A constructor is a method which creates an object or a copy of this animal. In order to be capable to create a copy of animal, I need a method. Okay, and that method in any class is called the constructor. As you can see, I don't have a constructor here. Well, this is true and false. It's true because explicitly I haven't made a constructor. And it's false because there is always, if I don't define a constructor, there will be always a constructor implicit. Means that I have a constructor such as the same name as the class, like this. So this is my default constructor. Okay. So if I don't put anything here, okay, it's equal to, make it like this. So every time I make an animal, by calling that constructor. As we can see, this constructor has the same name as the class. So, and it's a public. It's public because if we want to create an object, this method should be public. If it's not public, then outside of this class, nobody has access to it. So in order this class to be capable to create object, this method should be public. And any other methods here, if I don't put this scope here, which is public, so nobody has access to it. Even though they create the object, they don't have access to it. We're gonna make some test after. Okay? So now I'm gonna create the object, the other class, which is my class Zoo. So let's create that. Here's my Zoo class. I'm just going to clean it here like that. So my Zoo class is the class that have the main method, the entrance. Okay. So we said that the method, the main method, is a static method, should be public, must be public, and it returns nothing. And we said by tradition, we add up this. Here we explained it already why we added up, because of the command line, and at the time we were doing it like this, etc., etc. So now I want to create an object of the type animal. So what I do animal, let's say animal 1. Then I can go to the next line and then say animal 1 is equal to new animal. I could do it in one line too. I could do it animal 1 is equal to animal. So what you should understand here is the type of this animal 1 is the class animal. This is extremely important. This is like doing, here we go, the type of A is an integer. But what's happening here on the first line, if I do it in 2 lines, I just have a variable from the type animal. Okay, but the type animal is not created yet. I just declare I will have an animal. I will have an animal 1 from the type animal with capital letter. Then in this line, when I say, or in that line, in this line or in this line, when I use the word new, what I do, I come back here. Actually, I'm calling my constructor. Either an explicit constructor that I created, either the implicit one. Okay, so this is important. The moment that I'm calling this new, I will have a space in the RAM dedicated to this object, which is animal 1. So when I do it like this, okay, in the stack, I have an address, and this address, it's on the stack, and this address is will contain or will point on an object from the type animal. When I created, this creation is on the heap. Okay, and this creation is at the runtime. An object is created at the runtime. Okay, so when we run the application, it goes line by line in our pseudocode from the compiled file, arriving to this place. Then it said, oh, actually this one, okay, it will be here. It will be created and pointing to the animal. Here is the object. Okay, so now I had a bunch of methods here. I want to invoke those methods, so I say animal1. I put the dot operator. As we can see, we have these three bold methods. So I go with it, then animal. What is the other one? Slips. Then animal1 speaks. So I'm just going to put the system out here to separate them. Okay, just to separate them. Here we go. And this is for this one. Here we go, we do it like that. So let's run this thing. Then the animal is eating, the animal is sleeping, the animal age is 0, the animal gender is null, and the animal weight is 0. Why? When it's speaking, it's pointing on 0, 0 for integer and null for string, because I never defined them. I never initialized them. If we go to my class animal, my constructor is empty. So what I'm telling him, implicit or explicit constructor, what I'm saying is create an animal with the default value. So this is the default value. If I define the value here, let's say I said the age is 10 and the gender is male, for example, I can do it. Now if I run it, say the gender is 10, the gender is male, the age is 10. So I initialize it here. So whatever it is, it's going to take it as is. If my constructor is empty, any copy of this animal that I make, it's going to take the default value here. Okay, so if in the zoo I create another animal and I make it animal2 and I make that animal speak, so you'll see that both of them are speaking the same way. So both of them are speaking the same way. They have the same attributes. So in the next section, we're going to learn how to add parameters inside our constructor. Thank you.